Hi guys, we're going to do a little alignment on my buggy. That's the 959 and it's the B with the ginormous 540 motor. I put on this heat sink extra and a little cooling fan, and then here's the short course one, the 969, and that's the 390. And if you guys are thinking about these, I'd actually recommend this one. With the 390, it's faster than my Zinglehong and my GP Toys. Those have 390s in them, but they put a really big pinion gear on the motor, so it really has good top end, and it's faster than the 112, and it's way faster than the PX Toys, the Sandyland and stuff. Those only go like 15 miles per hour. I got 3 of those things, really slow, and those have 380 motors in, just a shorter can. But yeah, this one all around drives amazing and stuff like that. It's got low ground clearance, if you want to do more off-roading, maybe get the monster truck, the 979, and then this little guy's even lower yet. And I ordered the tires off for a 979. I saw a couple guys did that, so it's going to have the bigger monster tires on. It'll get it up off the ground. It'll be a little wider, so it might help in the stability. You can see I added a bumper. I ordered that from a 979 for a 979. Because one time I hit head on with another guy and it almost popped the cap all the way off the shock. It jumped up a couple threads and it jammed my steering. I wouldn't steer after that, so I took 2 little screws out on the bottom and got the pressure off the dog bone, and then it was okay. And that happened 2 different times. So I figured this was my fastest one of everything, and I crash it at high speed, so I put a little bumper on it. I think the bumper for the short course is a little bit too big. It might kind of not look good on the buggy. The buggy still maintains its nice lines. It just has a little like a push bar on the front. And then the problem with the buggy, mine and the other guys, they come towed out really bad. And I did a little trick one guy did on YouTube. He ran like a paper clip from one tie rod to the other to push out a little bit, because they have so many joints around this front differential and there's a lot of play in there. So with this one, when you get on the throttle, it goes one way, let off, it goes the other way. So I did the wire thing, just temporary, wrapped it with electrical tape and little mini zip ties to see what it was like. And yeah, it took the slop out of the steering, but then it made it real stiff because it's pushing against the wire. The wire is run over the top of the that top brace going over the drive shaft. So maybe a thinner wire would help me out, but I just wanted to experiment a little bit. But today I'm going to do tie rod ends on this one, and I'm going to do these upper for the camber, because the rear tires lean in at the top, and in the first week it burned the insides off. I've already rotated the tires front and back to try and save them, but they're leaned in so much it burned it off. So I'm going to do that and tie rod ends. And this one, for whatever reason, isn't so bad. Factory, the tires are more square. It's not towed out so much. So I'm just going to kind of split my kit up a little bit and do the camber adjustment on top, because one leans in more than the other. And I think if I lean this one in, I'll be able to tow it in a little bit just doing that. I was a full-time alignment guy at a shop, so I'm kind of good with the alignments. One little tip: do your upper ones first. Set your camber first. Your up and down of your tires, get that where you want it. Then do the tie rods or the pull rods that change your steering. Because once your camber's set, then second thing, do the toe, and it won't adjust, it won't mess with the camber. But some of the guys that don't really know, if you do your toe first, set your toe where you want it, then you put the rods on for your camber. Well, once you set the camber, it's going to mess with the toe again. You'll be going back and forth trying to fix your toe. So just a little tip: do the upper rods first, get the vertical up and down, the camber the way you want it, and then do the little tie rod ends, and that'll save you a whole lot of time. So that's what we're going to do. Okay guys, I got it all done. To get to this one screw here, you need to take off your shield for your gears back here, the like 5 screws total. And while I was at it, I took a Q-tip and some car grease, bearing grease, and I put it all around the joints when I was putting it back together to seal the dirt out. Because on both of these, when I have played in the dirt, some grit or some little tiny rocks and sand got in there and it was making noise, and that's not good on the gears. So just a little bit of grease, or if you don't have grease, Vaseline, just something that's sticky like that, and the dirt will stick to that and it won't go into the gears. And then next time you got to work on it, just paper towel, wipe off the grease, and when you're done, put new on. And it kind of makes a gasket, but it's not like using Permatex. You don't want to use silicone or something like that. That'll make it a mess later on, but the grease is real easy. And then I took a magic marker when I had everything where I wanted it, put a little line on the inner turnbuckles, and then I knew it was good. And I used blue Loctite, and I just would put some on a piece of cardboard, and then I used like a little zip tie to dab it on my threads and to work it in there. I saw one guy used hot glue gun, but the hot glue is kind of thick. I don't think it gets in the threads real good. And then I changed on the short course truck. I actually did the tie rod ends, and you can, if you don't want to buy all this aluminum stuff, you can heat up these plastic rods. I've seen guys do it on YouTube with a heat gun or maybe above a candle and stretch them a little bit, get them where you want them. But my kit, every rod was the same length. When they're spun in, they're all the same length. So you just make them longer for the backs and accordingly. And I kind of, when I took off my plastic rods, I would spin my aluminum rod to kind of match it, so I had a place to start. But yeah, I got my back tires nice and straight. I've got them towed in a little bit. If you push in on the front tires a little bit, that's kind of the running way it will run, because it's 4-wheel drive and they always want to be towed in. If you see at a truck pull, a Chevy truck, they'll bend their tie rod ends and their front wheels tow way in at the front. That's their weak point. And so you just, for running it, that's how you set your tow. Just kind of get the slop out of it that way. And then on the transmitter, to find center of the transmitter on your trim buttons, it's a short beep for trimming it, and the long beep's the center. So here I'll go one click, and then when I go back, that's the long tone. So that's the true center of the servo of all your adjustments on your trim. And then just set your rods accordingly. Use some Loctite, I think works pretty good. Maybe there's other ways to do it, but there's actually slop in the threads, and you'll add more slop if you don't tighten these. Plus, over every little bump, they're gonna keep spinning. Pretty soon all your adjustments will be off. So you do have to kind of lock them down. You could maybe, if you wanted, a little electrical tape, but that looks ugly. So basically now I'll do a little test drive, see what they're like, and then in about a week I get the big tires for the buggy to lift it up, and they'll be wider. And I'm not trying to turn it into the 979 monster truck. I'm just using some parts off the for a 979 to customize it, get it how I want it, but just passing along some little tips and stuff so you guys can, it's good to watch a bunch of videos on YouTube. Everybody has some different ideas, and then you just pick the ones you want to do, and it's a hobby, so it's fun to try new things. I know when I do some adjustment, then I take it out and try it, see if it's better or not. This time I'm not going to do the wire across. I think just being towed in will help me out quite a bit. I'll see how it goes. I can always do a paper clip later or something like that, but I don't want to do too many adjustments all at once and then run it, because then I don't know what improved it or what made it worse. So now we'll do a little run video. Maybe you guys can subscribe and put a like on it and help me out. Thanks.